Hey, good evening, friends. Today, my friends, is Wednesday, June the 1st, 2026, and the time now is 7:27 p.m. Now, friends, the World Cup of upset or the World Cup of disappointment continues, and many countries have demonstrated that they deserve in the World Cup. They've shocked, they've surprised, and they've disappointed people all over the world, whether we are talking about their own fans or supporters or the opposing teams. Now, friends, I want to talk briefly but specifically about Sweden. Sweden is one of the European countries, Western European countries, in the far north of continental Europe, which, even though Sweden may not be considered one of the top countries in the world or even in Europe pertaining to football. However, Sweden demonstrated during this World Cup 2026 that they deserve to be in this World Cup. They've done very good job in this World Cup so far. However, friends, Sweden was knocked out yesterday or defeated yesterday by France. Now, France is an amazing team. But before I go to that point, let me bring something. I basically like the fact that FIFA expand this World Cup in terms of bringing in more teams or countries in this World Cup. However, I can say that the way the groupings for the round of 32 appears, there are many who are saying there is some cheating thing going on. For example, in the group with Argentina, Argentina has lots of countries that many will say are not contenders. Yes, you do have Brazil and you have England in its group. But the teams that Argentina is playing right now, we can also say that they constitute a definite win for Argentina to propel Argentina to the final stages or stage. Meanwhile, in the group with France, there are lots of tough countries. Yes, France deserved to meet tough countries because France had been the number two. France basically won the silver medal in terms of the final, with Argentina winning the World Cup title in the last World Cup in Qatar, 2022 or so. However, in the France part of the bracket, the round of 32, there are lots of tough, stronger countries. In Argentina's group, there are lots of countries, weaker, not stronger countries, basically, which will allow countries such as Argentina, England, and so on to just sail their way through the group. In this case, I think FIFA may want to go back to replan, okay, or examine how they organize or plan the groups in the next World Cup that is coming, basically 2030 or so. Now, friends, in terms of Sweden, as I've said earlier, Sweden deserved to be in this World Cup. Sweden played its hearts out and they played tremendously well. At least their 4 games prior to meeting France. Now, kudos to Sweden, because they basically played a champion, the champion of champions, okay, or one of the champion of champions in Europe and around the world. We are talking about a country that went to the final 2 times in a row, and there are many who are projecting could go back to the final this year and win. Yes, France does have some tough teams, okay, in its bracket. However, if France get through those teams, I think they have a better chance of defeating Argentina. Many had been anticipating that Argentina will make it to the final. which if that becomes the case, Argentina will have to play France. It's going to be a rematch, okay, from the last World Cup in Qatar. It's going to be amazing. But in terms of Sweden, kudos to them. They play a giant. Yes, they lost to France 3-0. However, yes, even though they play well, France was basically the better team. France is not only stacked with lots of good players. However, they demonstrated that during the game with Sweden. And honestly, they defeated or they beat Sweden, whichever phrase or word you want to use, very easily. Perhaps we can also say it was because the Swedish players seemed to be timid. This was perhaps because of one important thing that I've noticed in this World Cup, where regular teams, okay, the lesser teams are playing the bigger, powerful, stronger teams, the most renowned teams, that they've been very much afraid. Of course, we can kudos to countries such as Cape Verde that basically drew with Spain, and the DRC Congo, which drew with Portugal, even though DRC Congo was defeated 2-1 by England. But we are seeing many countries, when they're playing the top countries, they seem to be afraid. My policy is play the hell out of them. Man for man, play the hell out of them. Run for run, ball for ball, defense for defense, throw for throw, and so on. Be brave, be determined, challenge the hell out of them. Perhaps Sweden can go home and examine its performance this year in this World Cup and see what it did wrong and what it could have done right. Or perhaps Sweden can go and begin to prepare itself for its next World Cup campaign for the 2030 World Cup. Now, friends, please tell me what you think, and I really want to know what you think. However, my friends, I am going to end here. I want to thank you for being a member of the Echoing Voice community, my friends, but most especially and most importantly, our most important friends, I want to thank you a lot for watching the Echoing Voice. Peace, my friends. Peace.